Equal Power Politics, Why Nigeria program, and I'm hoping that we have great discussion, amazing discussion, and for me the most beautiful thing is meeting young Nigerians that indeed are ready to be the ones that determine who are the people who get into offices, and that's such an amazing thing, because at the end of the day, they have the highest demography, they have the population, they should have the say in the people that get into office. But beyond that, I also want to see them participating in governance and being in elected position and doing the best they can for Nigeria. Thank you. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've been on the stage before. So whether it's this particular program, I'm not sure, where I spoke about the fact that we needed millions of people on the streets. And we're saying it today. So why did this happen? And I look what you said, our tired is tired. Yeah. I mean, they keep talking about how resilient Nigerians are. I mean, they're hurting you and you're saying you like it, and that you're resistant to it and you keep going. So why is this? Answer, simple. There's no two ways about it. I finished secondary school in 1991. I'm sure you weren't born then, right? Okay. So I finished secondary school in 1991. I got admission into university in 1992. Guess what? There was ASU strike. My first child has finished university. My second child is in university right now. Hopefully by next year she'll be finishing. What am I saying? It's the same problem over and over again, right? I grew up to see military era, my own generation. And I normally come at my own generation, the lost generation, because when we were quite young, we were told that only elders could speak. And then now we are at that elderly, we are told that the young people are the ones that will speak, and I'm okay with that. So let just be that gap that they walk over and actually own the country. So my own generation, we saw what military was, and we saw how people fought so hard to have a democracy. I had my first child in 1999, so he doesn't know anything about military era, right? So he has been having his fun until NSAS. That was when they now knew that government can be brutal. It can be brutally brutal. On the 20th of October 2020, I had I think about 7 hours meeting with the organizers of the NSAS protest in Abuja. And I was saying to them, think about the most heinous thing that a government can do, and know that this government can do worse than that. Anything that you can think of, because there are a lot of people who felt government can do certain things. So by the time NSAS happened, so for the first time, they came face to face with the brutality that government is. And so they started saying, we can't keep sleeping. That tired must be tired. And I remember over the years, within those 2 years, people kept saying that, NSAS was a failure. No, it wasn't. It was an awakening. People were emancipated. Stephen Biko said that the greatest weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The moment you're able to have control over the minds of the oppressed, then that's it. Everything is done. Because the person will even tell you that, I'm supposed to be oppressed. That's why you see up to today, there are people that will say to you, but what has the government done now? And the president is old enough to be your grandfather. I'm like, seriously? Nobody voted for him to be a grandfather. If he wants us to treat him like a grandfather, then he should be in the village when we come back with the value for him. There are no two ways about it. The moment you decide to be in office and you're occupying the office of the president, hello, my office of the citizen is higher than your office. So when I say jump, you ask me how far. Don't tell me that I don't have the right to tell you to jump. So that is the most critical thing. So I will see a situation where by the time Nigerian youth became interested, and I think there was a video of mine that I did on October 1st when we went out for a protest, and there were quite a few people. And I remember berating Nigerians and saying, look, you will do 10,000 retweets online, but when you come to protest, you will see less than 100. You understand? And 7 days later, Nigerians were on the streets. So it's that, for me, it's that particular
that was the switch.
Period. That was the switch. It was just like that. You have those aha moments, you have a paradigm shift where you know that looking away, like Thatcher rightly said, after God, honestly, it's government. They can decide whether you even breathe oxygen or not. They can make that law and do a whole lot of things. So the phenomenal thing that we are seeing right now is that right now Nigerians, especially young Nigerians, are ready to occupy their office of the citizen. And that's why I say to you, understand, don't ever believe anybody that tells you that you're leaders of tomorrow. I was told that there's no tomorrow. Yesterday died last night. What you have is today. And you have to make those decisions. And I see a lot of people, especially my own generation, who were abused so much. And some of us have carried on this abuse and we want to continue the abuse. That's why somebody will be telling that, oh, you were not respectful, you were not this, you were not that. Please, don't have to drop respect for one side. Let's interact as adults. My kids, I don't tell them that they have to respect me. I say to my children, if the only reason why you're going to respect me is because I gave birth to you, then I'm not deserving of your respect. I need to earn it. I need to see you as human beings, not that, oh, I'm older than you because I came to this world first. Who has time for that?
Okay, let me come to, please put your hands together for her. Put your hands together for Tasha. So I want to ask you, how do you understand the term structure? In what ways do you think young people running political movements today are building structure for themselves and for their preferred candidates?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is that the young people, or should I say youth, so young people somehow might sound condescending. I would say the Nigerian youth do not know how to build the kind of structure that has been destroying Nigeria, so that's the whole thing. So because what we've had, what they call the structure, is a thing that has really been, destroying the nation as it is. For me, what I see as structure are the people. The people are the structure. It's not the building that you have, it's not anything. When the people decide that they're going to participate in election, definitely they will become the structure. And I think about like 3 or 4 years ago, I started saying we needed to, first of all, Nigeria does not need more activists. Nigeria needs more active citizens, and that's what we're seeing right now. And so about 3 years ago, I started saying we all have to be political activists. So what is political activism all about? It's about, one, if you have the capacity, run for office. The capacity to be able to give good governance, run for office. If you don't want to run for office, you can volunteer to be in the campaign of people who are running for office, who have good governance, accountability, and transparency. The third thing also is to help them raise funds for those who are running for office. And then the fourth one is to hold those that have voted into office accountable. So these things are very important. So when you talk about that structure, like I said earlier, it's about the people taking ownership of what is going on. So when you said something about the grassroots, like I always say to people, we are all from the grassroots. There's nobody who I don't have a house on social media. I build and sell houses. I've never built one on social media. I actually build them on physical ground. So that's every one of us, when we leave our Twitter, Facebook, and whatever, we all go back to our houses and we have connection to what is happening in our villages. One of the things that people do not understand is that the stopgap, a lot of elites are the ones who are the stopgap for government. But unfortunately, they do it without requesting for anything. Once in every 4 years, politicians go to the people and they do have a quid pro quo moment. Give me your vote, I will give you certain money, right? Yeah. After that, who is the one? Who are they calling to say, I am sick? My children, their school fees need to be paid. This, that. It's you and I are the one taking all of that on, but we never speak politically to people. We never ask up to them what are the choices they are making. So for the first time now, we are having more elites pay attention. A lot of people do not realize the relationship between governance and their lives. And then there are a lot of more people who are not educated. I always say that democracy without education is a disaster. I'm going to relate this all to the question you're asking. Democracy without education is a disaster, and that's the reason why a lot of people deliberately have broken our educational institution into a place whereby people are coming out, even when they have university degrees, they are not educated. And so, beyond the people, there are people who are literate, who collected their certificates but left education back in school. There are people who never had the opportunity to be in school. So I always say to everybody, for the education that you have, it's not for you alone. It's for millions of other people who have not had the opportunity to be educated. And so we all have to leave our sanctimonious thrones and come down and meet the fish seller in the market and let her understand the relationship between governance and her life, the relationship, the fact that her child that she has worked so hard to send to school and has finished university and hasn't gotten a job, that it is not village people that have denied the child the job. It is not enemies, as we are being told. It's simply because the government is not doing the things that they're supposed to do, and so there's contraction in the economy, and then there are no jobs available. Even the little jobs that are there, people are being thrown into the unemployment market. So when you connect all of this dots and people begin to do that, that's the structure, and that's what we're seeing right now. We see a situation whereby the citizens of the nation have actually woken up and they've occupied that their office of the citizen and they're putting in all the work, and they're going everywhere to reach out to people and then create this structure, this so-called structure that's needed. One of the things we must never take away is the role that money plays in politics. A lot of people, there's no how you're going to, politics is not a love affair. I think someone wrote a book and said love does not win elections.
That's right.
So I'll quickly round up on this. You need money. So money is one of the things that they also call structure. And that's why I say to people, we must put our monies where our votes are. If you sit back and do not donate to candidates, for example, your friend that is running for office today, if we expect that he's the one that will bring his own personal money to run for office, and then at the end of the day, when he gets there, he has to recoup it. It's no longer business politics, it's now business, one way or the other. Whether you're doing it ethically, legally, or whatever, you'll be looking for ways to do that. Or otherwise, what now happens is that if he doesn't win and then it keeps on going, the next time he will not be able to participate. And so what we've had with the situation whereby we left only the politicians to bring their own money to run for office is that people with credibility, people who have served and have been incorruptible, they are not able to participate in the political process because they do not have money. So when we bring our money, every one of us, say by the time we put 100 naira together, we'll have something. By the time we put 1,000 together, we'll have something, and we're able to donate it to people who are running for office. What will mean then is that it is not those people who have stolen our collective wealth that will continue to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges. Because that's what we've been having. And so when those people get into office, that's why they're not loyal to anybody other than the people that brought them into power. That's why you see one person would be that, very important. So when you have, in the structure also, there's also financial structure, which is what we are seeing right now. A lot of Nigerian citizens are out there using their own money to do rallies, to do a lot of things without waiting for the candidate or any candidate. That is the kind of thing that we're going to see, that we want to see. And by the time these people get into office, guess what? He knows that it's not his money that took him there.
He knows he's owing people.
Exactly, and so he has no option other than to give that good governance, accountability, and transparency. Your PVC is one thing that you don't need to pay for, and it doesn't have expiry date. So for some people, it's a means of identification and nothing else. So they collect it, anything you want to use, your driver's license or international passport, you can also use your PVC, and it comes cheap, no expiry date. If it's defaced or anything, you go back and get it fixed. And so that's one. Another thing also is the fact that people do not believe in the electoral process. You said something about a lie just now. There's a lie that you usually used to fly before. I think in the last 1 year, it's no longer that this is when they say votes don't count. Yeah. And we used to say that if votes don't count, why are politicians paying for votes? Yeah. So you see, that was a big lie that was told to a lot of people. So people did not believe in the electoral process because they feel that even if we go to vote, that the result they will sort of like do the usual amalgamation and they will rig it and thank you. Not say some of us will go nice with English they fail us sometimes. So that's another thing. And the other one also on the issue of collection of PVCs, like they can't post it, like she said, it's not in the law. And then if you post it, it gets missing. What now happens? Whose address are you posting in? Our houses, they can't get them. We don't have postcode, so that makes it very difficult. And then they are coming to do that again. So that's also something that can be looked at, and I think there are a lot of people that can actually work with INEC to be able to ensure that it's free on INEC's part, so that they're not having to use money from their budget. So the last one also that I want to say is the fact that because there are no credible people running for office, it keeps a lot of people away. With the new Electoral Act, what we saw was the fact that now you primaries have to be finish, and there's enough time for people to actually be able to collect their PVC. So when certain candidates came out that people loved, they went on the street to collect their PVCs.
Right.
Previously, what we had, it was just, there was never a time. Right. It was just a few weeks to elections, like December, primaries are done, and all of that. So on the issue of this overbloated register, it's really something that we need to look into. And just a quick example is look at, that's one of the reasons why we are unable to recall people in the legislative arm of government who aren't doing the right thing, because you need 50% or above for you to be able to recall them. And most times you find out that the people that voted them into office are not even up to 20%. But when you need to recall them, you need to get 50% of the registered voters. So that's part of the things that the legislative arm of government does. One of the things we normally ignore is we ignore that part. We focus on the executive arm of government. The legislative arm of government is actually the bedrock of democracy. They make laws, they have oversight functions, and they also hold executive accountability. So if we vote incompetent people into office, they can be able to make laws. And one of the laws is, for example, we have a situation whereby it is no longer 50% of the registered voter that should recall you. It should be 50% of the people that the win that you had. 50% of the people that voted you in. So if 200,000 people voted you into win, then 100,000 people should be able to recall you, and more should be able to get you back. So that's one of those things there. On the issue of also when you say, oh, citizens should know that the things that they're supposed to do, Nigerian youth should come out there, and we need to understand something. The first set of dictators we had were our parents. Nigerians were brought up being told that you can't have a voice, you can't speak. If you speak up, you're a stubborn child. I know the number of beatings I got just for asking questions and saying, why? Why do you want me to do this? Aisha, don't go here. Why? All I needed was to do basic explanation. Or the reason why we don't want you to be here is blah, blah, blah. Give me the information, then I'll be able to make informed decisions. So we've not had that with the way people were brought up. So what simply happens is that when people grow into adulthood, they simply replace their parents with government. And so they don't know how to fight back, how to do any of those things. So we will have to be mindful of that. Also, the young people, like you said, they want things easy way. Yes, it's easy. Why should somebody suffer? Why should I suffer to get something? My son was very angry when he did his registration, INEC registration in 2019. He spent up to like 6 hours on the queue. And he was like, Mom, why am I doing this? My friends, because he schools in England. My son has been in the UK since he was 14 years old. He's dyslexic, and that's a learning disability. And in Nigeria, you'll be called Olodo, he wouldn't have done anything. So we had to take him to UK at the age of 14, and he enrolled into a school for children with learning disability. Today, he's a graduate. If he was back here in Nigeria, he would never have been a graduate. And there's so many children out there who have the same condition, whose parents don't have money to send them abroad, and that's what Thatcher is talking about. We need a Nigeria that works for everybody, but not just a few. I'm going to round up quickly, Sandra. So I said, why is he having to queue when his friends, they just get a mail that says fill this thing. They don't stand in the snow or anything, and they get what they want. So that's another thing. In terms of social media, yes, social media it's a replication of life. When people say social media is toxic, as even like you said, it's toxic. There's nothing that's happening there that doesn't happen in real life. There's nothing that is being done today that wasn't done during our time. The only thing is that ours were not documented. There are so many mistakes I made as a young girl that another person making the same mistake again, they will document it, and the internet keeps it forever. But I've been able to forget my past, and then I keep going, and then sometimes I'm sitting here thinking, talking as if I've never done anything wrong before. And so that's the way life goes. So what normally happens is that we must understand that social media has democratized media.
That's right.
It has forced the government to interact with you. Unlike during our time when it was 7 a.m. news and 9 p.m. news. That is it. They will tell you what they want to tell you, that's it. But right now with social media, you are not able to participate and be able to tell the government, this is what I want you to do. This is what you should do. And then, or you just start an issue and it goes up. There's something, when you're talking about public policy, the first step of public policy, the first step is agenda setting, which we have turned into a bad word. They say, oh, she has an agenda. Of course now. There must be an agenda. And that agenda setting, that's what happens with what you're doing. You make it an issue. Then when it becomes issue, that is when other people take it on. Then you begin to see that policy formulation, policy legitimization, policy implementation, then the monitoring and evaluating, right? So what you do with social media is that take control of the narrative. Sit down and say, what are the things like the question that you asked on election, what can young people do? In terms of going into election, hold that neck accountable, use your hashtag. It's very powerful. Whether they like it or not, when you keep talking, because it's been democratized, nobody's going to come and close you down. Even when they tried to shut down Twitter, what happened? We simply activated our VPN and they were forced to listen. So you can use that to set the agenda on the table. Wake up in the morning and say, what are the things that we want INEC to do? Start a hashtag. Imagine all of us in this room. Every day we do 10 tweets on a particular hashtag for like a month. Before you know what's happening, it becomes a trending issue. When it becomes a trending issue, what then happens? INEC is forced to do something. And one of the things about this election, and I'm very okay if you don't allow me to speak anymore, but I just need to put this out. One of the things about this election, let me say, it's so powerful and it's so different. One, we have a new electoral act. That electoral act is amazing. There were a lot of people who said the president will sign it.
It is.
But he signed it. And the day he signed it, I said, President, don't chop, not cool. You don't do something. You do something. When President do something, we will praise her. When he do any, we will call her out. You understand? It's amazing. And it gives so much power to citizens. So that's one. The second thing with this 2023 election is that we have a president who is no longer running for office. So there's no power of incumbency. That's right. So that gives us advantage as citizens of this country to ensure that we get that kind of result we want for 2023. The other thing is what I call the president's nuisance value. The president, like you see, for the first time, you know when the president said he's shocked, we actually saw his shock during the, what was it that they did, award ceremony. You understand? He's one person who is self-absorbed. It's all about him. So right now he doesn't have any stake. Did any of you watch the primaries, the APC primaries? Yes. You saw how the guy literally just started. He was just having fun. For me, I believe that's the way he's going to see through this election. So that issue where they use that power of incumbency, where they try to use the security states, he might not do bigger. So let's be able to use that power and so that we now have that a free and fair election. And then finally, INEC. I think this is the second, your chairman, this is the second term. And you'll be looking for a legacy, right? Can we put that under him to say, hey, you will still live here. Before you, there were INEC chairmen. After you, there will be INEC chairperson and chairwomen. So sit up and give Nigeria a legacy, ensure that you're doing the right thing. So even if he doesn't want to, by the time you keep that hashtag sending that message, he will begin to think it, I want to leave home. And then finally, also, I said finally before, I said, sorry, this is the final. The president also doesn't have a legacy. He doesn't. The only place, and we have like how many months to go. So the only place where he really can get a legacy is through this electoral process. Right. So you see when he went to Onga, he said something about he wants to give Nigeria free, fair, credible election. Right. He has done the first part, the Electoral Act, amazing. So can we begin to sort there's something that when somebody does not even want to do something, you put the idea in. I've been married for 24 years. I know how to do that. You don't short the idea, you go back and you go, then the next time the guy will come, because the phone said idea, meanwhile I put it. So let's put it in his head to say, at least, President, use the free, fair, credible election to be able to have bragging power, so that when you and your mates are talking in the next X whatever, you'll be able to say, shame me, man, do this. So let's begin to send those ideas and ensure that we get the kind of
People, Politics and Power. It's been an amazing and a great show, and honestly I'm really in awe why Nigeria doing so many things. And I love the fact that Nigerians, especially the youth of Nigeria, are ready right now and they're taking over. They're doing so many amazing things. We know, of course, the Nigerian youth, they have intelligence, creativity, they have social media, they have technology, and they're not afraid to use it. And for the first time in a long time, they are saying indeed they are going to be part of the people who make this country work, and it's such an amazing and a beautiful thing.